All right, I actually forgot to double click the. I actually forgot to double click the to actually load up the game. So technical difficulties. We'll pretend nothing happened. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Adastra with your host Fallenwolf. Arr! Okay, perfect. So it has been a minute since we've played this. How is everyone doing? First of all, that's the most important question. How is everyone doing? Are we doing good today? Are we okay? Everything's all right. That is always the most important. That is always the most important question to me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love doing this, but always want to make sure everybody's doing all right. Oh, there we go. Fixing everything up. So, as I said, it has been a minute since we've done this. My apologies again. Streams have keep knocking stuff over. Streams have been I'm doing a live. Oh, okay, Akira. Everybody a live-ish. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Akira. Hopefully this stream will help you forget about your anything going on for a time. Hopefully you'll feel good with this. I'm doing great. I'm doing absolutely wonderful. I have you lovely people here, so that automatically makes me feel very good. But besides that, just in general, I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling really good. Last time we left off on this, some serious stuff happened. Amicus lost the throne thanks to Cato. So that was a big thing. So currently, Cato is technically the emperor. Casius is really just a puppet emperor. It's just a puppet leader. I'm really curious to see what happens next because we were almost the MC, our character Mark, was almost killed. If it wasn't for Neferu, we would have died. So I'm very curious now to see where this can go because a lot happened last episode. Our character Mark and Amicus declared their love for each other, which was kind of building up, so that's good. I'm gonna be that person. I do have some issues. People are probably wondering how I feel about this visual novel, and for the most part, I think it's a fantastic visual novel. I think it's very well done. Obviously, the art style is one of the best parts of it. I hate to say it like that, but it is. Well, no, we did do something. We did do something with Amicus. Not fully, because the MC didn't feel like he was ready for that, but we did do something with him. He did cockblock us though. We were snuggling and he kind of woke us up. But I have slight issues with the visual novel. Now the thing is, with all of my views and beliefs on this, all my views and ideas on this visual novel, I don't want to give them out till I play the very end because stuff might change that makes me feel differently. And I've purposely been trying to avoid spoilers. Even avoid spoilers, I've gotten some stuff spoiled for me. A lot of people's opinions on stuff. I will reveal my opinion after I completely finish this. Probably in the stream when I play the last part. Because, as I said, I do have some issues. And, again, every story is going to have issues. You cannot make a perfect story. I believe it is literally impossible to make a perfect story. But I'm still going to give my opinion. But we didn't come here for that. This is just a little input. And very quickly this week, I will try to record another video. I don't know if I'll be able to stream, but I will record another video. Currently, we are focused very heavily on Familiar Travels. That's a big one I'm trying to get done because I really love it. And I feel like it's very well done visual novel. And it seems like it's very popular with many of my viewers. Chemo Coliseum's another one we're working on. That's a very popular one. Very, very popular. And I want to stream Tavern of Spear again. My issue with Tavern of Spear I've been having is because YouTube bot thing has been going so crazy with anything somewhat sexually, with any sort of sexual content, even heavily censored. I'm still getting issues with it, so that's why I'm a little iffy on playing it. I will attempt to stream it though. If it doesn't work out, I'll do like EA, where I'm gonna have to just start pre-recording until everything is settled back to normal. But anyway, enough talking. You didn't come here to hear me talk, which is a little sad, but it's okay. You came here for sexy Amicus, who we really want to know what's happening with. So we're gonna load the last save file and start there. And also, feel free to let me know if you have any audio issues, any recording issues going on, so I can try to fix them to the best of my ability on my side. The idea of me staying in Neferu's room constantly for the foreseeable future doesn't last long. In fact, a few hours later, I find myself leaving his quarters and wandering the halls of the palace, like I have so many times before. Cato and Casius probably won't be back for a little while, so I don't really have anything to be worried about as far as I know. Oh, thank you, Akira. I appreciate hearing that. Like I said, I like to give my own input on things, but I also don't want to have it just be a ramble. You know, we came here to enjoy a video, but I do like to give my own opinions on stuff going on and let you give you little updates on what's going on in my life with streaming-wise. Like I said, if this was the only thing I was focused on, even with my job, I would probably post a video like 4 or 5 days out of a week. Editing does take a while. It takes most of my day, but I would still do it. It's just that right now I'm currently practicing art and practicing writing and working on a visual novel, which... some really good news. The visual novel, I have up to the first 2 days done, and I'm working on day 3. I never typed them out. The prologue is typed out. I'm just editing it slightly and trying to get somebody to help me edit it, but prologue's done. And the visual novel is going to be the prologue and the first 2 days. And so far, the responses I've got have been pretty positive for the prologue. Some slight grammar issues and some slight issues of things, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. So that's great. This is going to be a dream come true. Definitely by the end of this year, I will have a demo up of it, and I will definitely share it with everyone and see what their input is. Just as I'm thinking this, I see something out of the corner of my eye. A gray tail, green stripes. Oh man, I always mess up the name. Alexios. I think it's Alexios. Seeing the cat suddenly reminds me of all the suspicions I've been keeping bottled up about him, if only to keep the peace in the palace. I hate Alexios right now. Again, with all that thrown out the window, I find myself fast walking in Alex's direction, determined to confront him. While I feel like complete shit after what's happened, I also feel completely liberated. Cat's out of the bag. I can basically stay whatever I want now. Well, mostly. Definitely should still be careful. I turn the corner as I'm thinking this and find myself standing just a dozen feet away from the cat. Alex bent over as he waters one of the plants. He's humming again, and he's smiling when he looks up at me. That smile immediately vanishes. Alex, you're dead! He drops his watering can, sending it in the contents spilling across the floor with a clanking noise. He basically lost all chance of looking not suspicious in the first second he saw me. Mark, how are you this fine morning? Terrible. What are you doing? I'm so sorry to hear that. Are you feeling ill? What happened to your arm? Alex's eyes go to the bandage on my bicep, but I ignore him, taking a step forward. In response, he takes one back. What have you been up to? Up to? His eyes start left and right as if looking for an escape. No, Alex, you're not going nowhere. You're standing right here. We got some questions. We got some questions for you. Officer Fallen is in the house right now. Telling Neferu about me, telling the Triumvirs about what I told you. I don't know if he actually did that last one, but his reaction seems to tell me. His eyes widen as he backs away. I have no idea. Did you talk to Cato yesterday, after you saw me in the gardens last night? You realize what's happening right now, right? Mark, you're scaring me. The cat continues to back away. I follow, and that's when Alex just gives up on his act, turns down, and sprints down the hall. Hey, you cat bitch, get back here! Before I know it, I'm running after him, eyes focused on his trashing tail as his sandals slap against the marbled floor. Stop chasing me! I don't know what you want! I don't bother responding, starting to reach out to grab the back of his robes. Just as I make contact, he comes to a sudden halt, pressing himself against the wall so that I stumble and slide past him. He's at a door and he presses his paw to the black panel so that it slides open before he dashes inside. I don't think he was really thinking about where he was going to end up, because I know that's the bathing room, and I know he's trapped. I turn around and run inside after him, just in time to see him, still sprinting, slip dramatically on the wet floor, flying through the air for a moment before landing painfully on the corner of the bath. I hear him wheeze before he plunges into the hot water. If he lost his breath, it's back as he comes back up with a gasp, letting that all out in a scream of pain. Ah, hot! The cat scrambles out of the water clumsily, scrabbling at the sides of his claws before finally rolling out, looking small and disheveled with his fur all matted up against his skin. He curls up, and to my surprise, I see that he's crying. The sight alone is enough to give me some doubts that Alex is the conniving saboteur I think him to be. He looks so pathetic right now. I stand over him for a bit, looking down at his pitiful form before clearing my throat. You okay? Okay, I think you broke my ribs! Me? You're the one that ran away for no reason! No reason? You advanced upon me in a threatening manner! The cat curls up again and makes some more sobbing noises, and I'm between believing him and believing that he's flat out faking. Sit on the bench. I reach down a hand to help him up, but he swats it away. I narrow my eyes. Answer my questions, Alex. The cat finally sits up, sniffling and rubbing at his nose while the other paw clutches at his side. I have no answers. I'm simply a pet. Painfully, Alex gets to his feet before setting himself gingerly on the bench while stripping off his wet robe. Yeah, and I was simply a pet just yesterday. I'm not as stupid as you think, Alexios. Alex looks up at me, that pathetic, sad look replaced by one that I can't really explain. When he remains quiet, I try him. You know what we could do, Alex? Listen, Alex, we could just step on your broken ribs until you talk. You don't want me to get angry, do you? You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. When he remains quiet, I try again. I know everyone has interest here. What are yours? Maybe we have the same ones. You're not being very subtle, are you? What you did yesterday wasn't subtle at all. Who else could have told Cato that I was conscious again? That me and Amicus are lovers? Alex frowns and shrugs. How am I supposed to know? I told Casius last night. He could have told a number of people, especially Cato. That makes me pause. Of course, Alex talks to Casius on a regular basis, probably every night. It would make much more sense than that the wolf was the one to tell Cato rather than Alexios. But what about the lovers thing? You were the only one that suspected. Well, him and Neferu, but I know Neferu wouldn't tell. Alex scuffs, having taken off his robe and in the process of examining his side. It looks fine to me, no blood or anything, but he winces as he prods at it. Probably got bruised ribs. He's probably got bruised ribs. I wouldn't say broken, but they're probably bruised. You think it wasn't obvious? It was a prominent rumor ever since the first trial. That, and I guess Cato did walk in on us in bed together. I feel my resolve failing a bit, but then I remember Neferu again. But Neferu told me that you confessed my intelligence to him. Why would you do that? This time, the cat's reaction is rather different, his ears blushing as he looks away. Alexios is a spy. I think he's completely against, like, the Empire as a whole. Like, I don't think it's just he's Casius' a spy. I'm getting strong feelings that he's just I'm thinking, and again, I haven't played any of this, so I don't know if it's explained. I'm thinking Alexios is a spy for, like, another planet, kingdom, whatever. And that he's trying to, like, seed discord into this kingdom and make it fall, and the Empire fall, so somebody else can take over. That's what I'm getting at. Because he seemed like he works every side. It seemed like there's not one side, like every side he's working for. He was curious about you, and he can be persuasive. I'm sorry I told him, but again, I thought it was obvious, and I didn't think he'd tell you. Alex scowls, massaging his ribs. I glare at the cat, wondering if I just made a huge mistake. But what about the Trimoverts? I told you first, and then they all suddenly found out somehow. Alex quirks his head. Well, Casius was discussing it with someone else, wasn't he? Virginia. Maybe it was that person. Neferu had said they hadn't interfered at all in the trials, and Virginia didn't show any indication that she might have sabotaged her own brother. But then again, I have the feeling that she's probably a lot better at acting than anyone else here. I know I can't really trust anyone now, except Amicus, and maybe Neferu. I'd been so confident just moments ago, and now I find myself feeling guilty as I watch the sopping wet cat clutch himself. hunched over. I don't trust him to be telling me the truth. Not at all. But I also don't trust myself in being so confident that he's lying. So shamefully, I reach out a hand, resting it on his shoulder. He flinches and glares up at me. Sorry, I just thought... I'm just trying to figure out what's happening. Alex carefully moves my hand off his shoulder, but he doesn't seem all that angry. That's fine. Just don't do it in such a brutish manner next time. You frighten me. Yeah, and sorry about your ribs too. Even if you did it to yourself. Alex probably hears a smile creeping into my voice at the end of the sentence because he glares at me again. That really hurt, you know, and now I have to go to the city to see a physician. I'll have to take the awful bumpy carriage too, since Casius forbids me from flying. Alexios shakes his head. I rub my arm awkwardly. Why's that? Alexios looks up at me. Ever since his father's ship crashed and the investigation was botched, he's petrified of it. Botched? Yes, so they don't know how it crashed. Odd thing, isn't it? Yeah. Just when I'm having my doubts, I get another flare of suspicion as to why he's telling me something like this, but I brush it aside for now. So you know about everything that's happened? Vaguely, though I'd rather not be involved. Anyway, I suppose it's not so inconvenient for me that I go. I was meaning to visit Casius in the hospital today anyway. The cat stands up, bending down for Grimace to pick up his robes. And I am sorry about what happened to your wolf. I hope you're able to figure it out. And with that, the cat walks out of the bathing room, his tail dragging limply behind him. I want to say more to him, to figure out exactly what he's up to. I might have been wrong about him, but I also don't feel satisfied with his explanation. I can tell now that we're not exactly friends anymore, even before I caused him to shatter his ribs and boil in the hot tub. I sit on the bench for a while, thinking about soaking in the bath. I realized then that the last time I did that was with Amicus, and doing so now, alone, would be way too depressing. I get up and leave, hoping that Virginia took my request seriously. Hold on, I need to fix the camera. I feel like it's a little too high up. Nah, I guess that's good. I guess that's fine. Imagining the wolf below me alone is too much to think about. So I head back out into the halls, deciding to just go back to Neferu's room and stay there, like I've been told to. I don't feel like he's just a fake friend. I just feel like in general, I don't know why I'm getting this big hint that he's a spy, because if he was just working for one side, but I feel like every person he's telling like just the right amount of rumors and stuff to make stuff go into chaos. Like he's like, oh, I told Neferu, he's like, oh, I told Neferu this, and I told Casius this, and I told, you know, he's told us stuff. It's like something doesn't add up. It's like you're trying to play too many sides. And I know there's such a thing as being double-sided, where you're like, you know, like what's the word I'm thinking about? Double agent. I know there's something about being a double agent, but I don't know about triple agent. It just feels like he's playing too many sides to simply just be for one person. I really feel like that there's a fourth party, I guess technically, a fourth party somewhere that's watching this and waiting for it to fall so they can take over. I get that strong feeling. So, that's my thoughts. A few days pass like this. There's a bizarre calm in the air. The palace is quiet despite the absolute chaos that the top echelon of the empire is in right now. In the meantime, Casius becomes emperor with surprisingly little fanfare. Hello, Haz. You're fine. Don't worry. Better late than never. As long as it's not like the end of the stream, then I'd have to like hurt you. It's okay. We're not. You're fine. Welcome to the stream. I watch it on the screens. The young white wolf's right leg and left arm in cast, which is explained several times have happened in the third trial, as he's coronated by Cato, who is now missing his visor. That isn't explained to the viewers at all. I don't feel much as this happens. Realizing how fake all of this is, how it doesn't seem to mean anything despite how much I'm told it means. It's all theatrics. What matters most now is taking the two of them down and getting Amicus up and out from that dungeon. Even now, I'm not really thinking about getting home, despite the fact that the stretch drive should be returning at any moment now, if it hasn't already. There are bigger things at stake here, the main one being my best friend's life. And that's why, on the third day after the fake trial, I find myself eagerly involving myself in a discussion with Neferu as he tells me his plans. Cato is due back in the palace that day, and we both suspect he'll be making a trip to our room. Oh, Neferu. I'm sorry, I really like Neferu. I understand that it's the, Amicus, and I don't know, I think what shocks me so much about this visual novel is with all due respect, it's pretty much a straightforward story. For the most part. Oh god, my nose itching. It's a straightforward story. It's just really straightforward for a visual novel, and it's kind of surprised me. And I definitely know now for a fact there's only one romance option. You don't get a chance to go with somebody else. And don't get me wrong, I love the story so far. I think it's good. I really like the political entourage, but it's just a little weird. Which I think is also a reason people are so interested in this, because there's not really that many choices. I still kind of wish Neferu was a choice. I still probably would end up going with Amicus, but just I don't know. It would be interesting to see more of Neferu's backstory, which maybe we'll get explained to later. Since it's definitely confirmed there's going to be a sequel, which is so weird for a visual novel to be like, furry visual novel is getting a sequel. I was like, wait, what? I was like, a sequel to a furry visual novel? Well, technically Lagoon Lounge did it, but Lagoon Lounge, I feel like all three of the visual novels are one coherent story, so not really. So, the most important thing to the wolves is drama. A scene, something memorable. That's all they seem to care about around here. Neferu sniffs dismissively as he sips at his wine, and I find myself starting to see why Amicus might find him so irritating. Not that he's wrong, though, and I usually find myself agreeing with him. So, make a scene that makes Cato and Casius look bad. Well, most importantly, we need to find, or even make up information about them that will irreparably damage their reputation in the public sphere. Like what Casius did to Amicus during the second trial. Neferu smirks. Even worse than that, Mark. Preferably something that shows disloyalty or insults the pride of the wolves in general. That is something they often can't look past. Oh, these glasses. Didn't Amicus having sex with you show disloyalty or hurt their pride? Neferu waves his paw dismissively in the air. It's like, please. No, it's been established amongst the public that he was simply furthering his goal of an alliance with my species, which was completely in line with his character. As for pride, well, he wasn't the one raising his tail. Neferu, you power bottom, you. Neferu's such a power bottom. I sigh. So, we need something about Casius and Cato that's out of their character. Yes, something that shows them to not be who they say they are. The public must distrust them. Neferu strokes his chin. Would it be convenient to have all of that footage that Virginia was talking about, but considering how secure it might be, that could be impossible. Worth trying to get, though. Yes, I'll have to discuss that further with Virginia. So, what should I be doing? While it feels good to talk about what can be done to help Amicus, I personally want to do something. Neferu pauses and smiles at me. Mark, my duty is to not put you in danger. As I've said, I won't have you... Well, I don't care. I need to help. I'll do whatever I have to do. Neferu raises an eyebrow at me. Oh yes, even if it might risk your own life? Cato is only barely tolerating the protective line that being a Chemian citizen awards you. I would not push him further. Then I'll do things behind the scenes. I don't care. I just want to do something. Neferu sighs deeply. We'll see. Just keep in mind that the most important thing to Amicus is that you stay alive. That's what you can do that will help him the most. I take that in, still not fully convinced that there's nothing I can do. But I'll certainly let you know if I believe there's a way for you to help. As for me, my status leaves me untouchable, unless Cato wants to risk another war, which I guarantee you he does not. I'd imagine he has first-hand experience. Indeed. Neferu, Cato wishes to enter your quarters. I jump, wondering if the walls are thin enough for the old wolf to have heard us. Neferu doesn't seem surprised, though. Ah, as we've expected. Come, please tell him to hold for a moment. I'm in the nude. Yes, Neferu. Neferu looks at me. I suppose our mission starts now. I have my own drone recording in the corner there, hopefully to catch the old man saying something incriminating. What I'd like you to do is crouch behind those bushes. Keep hidden and quiet. What? I thought I was supposed to be involved. You will be, but I'd rather he not filter himself because of you. I hesitate for a second, then quickly do as I'm told, even though I do feel bitter at the feeling of being tossed aside once again. Neferu, I will override the security again if you do not. Cato's voice crackles over the speakers, but that's when the jackal opens the door, and for a moment, his voice comes from two places at once. I'm pretty well hidden behind a few trees and bushes, my surroundings dark enough that I'm pretty sure Cato wouldn't be able to see me through the leaves and twigs I'm peeking through. The two males stand awkwardly across from each other before Cato suddenly strides in, forcing the jackal to step aside, though Neferu keeps that smug smile on his face. What a pleasure it is for you to visit me today. As Cato walks in, I get a look at his face for the first time. Ooh. Oh, he got... Oof! He got hurt. Oh, he's blind. He looks like he's definitely blind in both eyes. I was wondering, like, that visor was like, I was like, is he, like, blind? I was like, I guess he's blind. Yeah, he's blind. Dude, that's a big scar. Oh, man, he was a fighter. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. Just fixing something. I've seen that he lacked his visor in the broadcast, but seeing it up close, the stern looks I'd always imagined under his now broken machinery is definitely there. His eyes have a milky gray quality to them, heavily scarred. The old wolf stops just in front of the fountain, his ears perked up high. I wonder if he could see anything at all, and Neferu asked just that. How is your sight, your former highness? I see one of those ears twitch before the wolf slowly turns around. Non-existent, young prince. Oh, please, just call me Neferu. Where is the alien? Oh, too much. Take it back a little bit. I'm trying to remember his voices. I always get mixed up with certain voices. Neferu pauses. Alex, or do you mean? You know damn well who I'm referring to, Jackal. Neferu raises his paws defensively, even though Cato can't see. Apologies, Cato. Mark told me he would be in the gardens doing landscaping work. Cato snorts. I didn't hear him out there. It is a rather large garden, a very beautiful one as well. Cato doesn't respond, instead staring about the room. Would you like some wine? Neferu gestures at the bedside table, picking up his own goblet to take a sip, loudly. I see Cato's ears twitch again before he turns to the jackal. What is your plan with the alien? Neferu frowns. Plan? Do not ever play games with me. That will be my only warning to you, Jackal. Okay. I was just told that he could see partly, so it's pretty much like he could kind of see. Cato's voice is so cold and ominous that even Neferu's grin wavers, but he recovers quickly, taking another loud slurp of wine. I was gonna say, I don't know if I trust Cato just because he's blind. Cato seemed like he's a warrior. Like, I'm pretty sure he's trained himself to, and probably knowing him, he's probably trained himself to fight even if he loses his visor. I mean, when you've fought all your life, you still have that warrior, you still have those warrior instincts. So I'm sure you can still fight pretty well even without the visor. I wouldn't test that. Such good wine. One of the few superior products your people produce. Now, as for Mark, I'm simply fulfilling a promise to Amicus. I see. That wasn't so hard to tell me then, was it? Speaking of, quite astonishing that he was so easily beaten by Casius of all people. Quite. I wonder how he was able to accomplish such a feat.
It was broadcast. You would have been able to see it.
Ah, well, I don't watch Adastrian broadcasts. Too much melodrama and propaganda for my tastes.
Pugnu is a combination of skill and luck, and it's not always the strongest that wins.
Of course, though I have to wonder, might any of that luck have been, well, manufactured? Cato was silent for a moment. Oh, something's gonna happen. He's pushing him real hard. Neferu's really pushing his buttons, I can tell. Cato being silent when you know that something is very wrong.
Are you implying something, Jackal?
Oh no, I'm simply curious. I came to study the politics and working of the Empire, while also trying to improve relations between our species. I feel knowing all the facets of woven politics is important. Cato sneers.
There's a fine line between studying and spying here.
Neferu chuckles. Well, what I do know is that you wolves often go about things in a theatrical fashion, and it's sometimes hard to tell what's real or not. I assumed the fight to be, well, somewhat staged. Cato chuckles at Amelia. I know that Neferu's making a lot of mistakes here. Yeah, he is. Something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen. I'm not sure what his plan is. Maybe he thought that Cato would be more friendly with him, or that he could lull the old wolf into a false sense of security somehow. Maybe he's just trying to feel the old man out. I also get the feeling that maybe he should have had all that wine before doing this. His suave, carefree attitude works on most, either to charm or to annoy, but Cato is not someone I feel it will work with particularly well on. Either way, it's clear Cato knows exactly what's happening. I'm sorry. Hold on.
I know Chemians pride themselves on their own intelligence, but I have to wonder why, considering your extreme stupidity.
Oh? Neferu casually sloshes some wine about in his goblet.
Your arrogance amazes me, young one. I know you were fortunate enough to have been birthed after the war, but it's as if you were never taught the history between our peoples.
I've spent countless hours studying this history, Cato, and that's mostly why I'm here.
Mostly, it seems the rest of the reason is to fuck with the delicate balance our empire is currently in.
Certainly not. I am merely an observer. I wouldn't tell Neferu to shut up, just tell Cato to go look for me out in the gardens or something. I can see the hackles on Cato's shoulder rising, and I can only hope that the jackal was right about being untouchable.
I know I offered you to stay in this palace as long as you pleased, and I never withdraw an offer without good reason. But have you thought about moving out to the city? There are many more accommodations out there.
Oh, no thank you. I much prefer it here. Everyone is so interesting.
It is just like a Chemian to take full advantage of a wolf's tolerance.
Neferu quirks an eyebrow. Tolerance? Not a word I'd often associate with a wolf. I can tell that Neferu's losing his cool as well.
Our tolerance for your arrogance was unprecedented.
Neferu seems confused for a moment. Oh, are you referring to the war? I'm sorry, we're quite a bit more blunt where I'm from, so I did not realize what you were getting at. Neferu smirks. For a moment I thought you were coming on to me, much like Amicus did. He gonna die. Neferu, you're gonna die. Oh, you're gonna die. Yep. Definitely too much to drink, or this jackal's a lot crazier than I thought he was. You wolves tend to be aggressive like God damn it, Neferu! You pushed too hard! You pushed too hard! Cato becomes a blur, closing the 5-foot distance between the two of them in less than a second. Yep! Somebody's gonna die today. The next thing I know, Cato has the jackal up against one of the pillars, slamming Neferu so hard against it that I see the plaster crack and fall away. Neferu gasps loudly, kicking out at Cato a few times as he struggles with the old wolf's thick arms. Get off! Neferu kicks out again, this time at Cato's groin.
If the old wolf felt anything, he doesn't show it, instead holding Neferu tightly in place while he snarls in his face. Speaking of tolerance, I have tolerated your arrogance for far too long, just because you are the Pharaoh's son. The second son, and of a ruler who has so little power over his kingdom in the first place. I shouldn't be surprised. Cato pulls Neferu forward, then slams him back against the pillar again, causing more plaster to fall and the jackal's teeth to clack together loud enough that I can hear it. You're all the fucking same, every single one of you, but somehow you're the worst I've yet to meet. Again, Cato slams Neferu against the pillar, and I start to stand up, wishing I had a Nervo. Neferu growls, trying another kick. Is this the next generation of Kemin we must deal with? I know you weren't alive for the war, but it seems another one is inevitable if you're an example of what's to come. Neferu tries to speak, but lets out a choked cough. Cato loosens his grasp and Neferu gasps a few times. No, Amicus was a bit less rough, but if you wanted to put your paws on me, you only had to...
Neferu, stop! You're gonna die! Like, Neferu is still trying to be smartass. Shut up, Neferu, because he's gonna kill you. This time, Cato almost lifts the jackal off his feet, cutting Neferu off of a horrific gag like he's throwing up. I must say, you have a funny way of going about building an alliance. It's as if you thought tail-raising would get you whatever you wanted. And now Neferu really starts to struggle, kicking around aimlessly, throwing his head left to right, sending drool flinging from his muzzle. Cato doesn't relent, and I know this is my cue to do something. It's been a while since I've killed a jackal. My paws have been itching to do it again. Maybe you'll be my next. I don't know what to do exactly. I have no weapon, but I wonder if maybe I can at least distract the wolf long enough for Neferu to get away, to breathe again. So I run out of my hiding spot, rustling the branches and leaves as I do. Cato is so focused on what he's doing to Neferu that he doesn't seem to even hear me. And as I run at him, I can see the wolf grinning maniacally into Neferu's face, like this really is something he's been waiting to do for a very long time. He finally seemed to hear me at the last second, turning his head in my direction before I lowered my shoulder to try and tackle him off on Neferu. It's like hitting a brick wall covered in fur. I make contact with the old man's side, and for a moment I get a whiff of musk and perfume before I'm stepped right back down on my ass. I wonder for a moment if I've dislocated my shoulder, looking up in a daze at what result my attack might have had, if any. To my relief, I see Neferu on his paws and knees, gagging and coughing, drool stringing from his muzzle. Oh, okay, he didn't die. Oh, Neferu! Jeez, what were you thinking? What the hell were you thinking? I was like, somebody's gonna die today. We're gonna lose the main character. Cato was standing slightly to the side, looking in my direction, over my head, but it clearly knows where I am. Yeah, I'm serious. I was like, I wouldn't have tried to tackle, I wouldn't have tried to tackle him. I would have picked up, like, a vase or something and, like, smashed him across the head. I was like, at least because I'm like, I feel like at least that would, like, daze him for a second or two. I mean, he just shoulder butted him. It did nothing to him. He's like, didn't do anything. He only focused on me for a moment, though. Then he turns his head in the direction of the coughing jackal, Neferu crawling away at this point. Cato makes his way towards him before drawing back a foot. I can only reach out, not even have enough time to ask Cato to stop before the wolf kicks the jackal between the legs. He does it so hard that I see Neferu's knees skip off the ground for a moment before he pitches face first to the marble on his knees and clutching on himself, and he lets out a howl of agony. I cringe, immediately think of the time I kicked Amicus and how much harder Cato must have kicked Neferu. Oh, I hate nut shots. I can't even imagine. Especially with somebody like Cato, because Cato probably didn't hold back. He probably let out. You probably like, ah! I start to move towards them again in case Cato thinks of doing anything else, but the old wolf simply stands there, breathing heavily, head tilted down as he listens to Neferu moan. For the kicks you gave me earlier, that should put your whoring out of commission for a few days, no? Neferu's curled up on his knees at this point, paws tucked into himself. It's at this point that I see a gush of red liquid overflow from his muzzle, and for one horrific moment, I wonder if somehow Cato had kicked him so hard that he ruptured his organs or something. But no, it's the wine, and it spills across the marble. I was gonna say he probably vomited. He probably vomited. I was about to say, I was like, I hope that's not blood. Like, I hope he didn't, like, beat him that badly, like, that he was, like, vomiting. Cato wrinkles his nose at the retaching sounds before carefully stepping around the jackal.
As I said, I won't withdraw my offer for you to stay, but there are many apartments open in this city. Just know that you will not be able to take your new citizen with you. Otherwise, I'd like to try this discussion again in the future, if you're willing to be more cooperative.
With that, the old wolf stalks out of the bedroom. At the same time, 2 white drones float in. Dude, fuck. Screw you, Kato. So Kato's pretty much kind of hitting that, like, listen, like, as long as Neferu protects us, he's gonna keep screwing with him until he stops protecting us. That's what that was pretty much saying. Whew. At the same time, 2 white drones float in, hovering over Neferu. One lowers itself to the ground to begin cleaning up the mess, while the other holds out what looks like a couple of capsules on a plate, which it balances on a metal appendage. Neferu, you seem to have vomited. Would you like anti-nausea medication? I stumble over to the jackal and kneel at his side and try to help him in any way that I can. He simply keeps his eyes screwed shut, holding up a paw before returning it to his sore spot. Awkwardly, I rub at his shoulder, trying to ignore the smell as the drone does its work of cleaning up the puke. A few minutes later, I manage to help the jackal to the bed, his breath ragged the entire way. It's strange seeing him like this, usually so confident and in control. I never expected anyone to do anything like this to him, but I guess if someone was going to do it, it was Cato. Are you sure you're okay? I ask for what's probably the 3rd time as I sit next to him, and Neferu manages to smile despite the clear pain he's in. No, but I'll have to go to the physician to be sure. All the way in the city since Cato saw fit to imprison the palace doctor. Do you need, like, ice or something? I don't know, he hit you so fucking hard. I'll manage, I just miscalculated. I'll know how to handle him in the future. I frown, not really feeling like that's the case. As I'm trying to help him, though, Cobb's voice comes over the intercom again. Virginia requests access to your room, Neferu. Neferu suddenly straightens up, moving his paws from his crotch to his thighs. Granted. She nods at 2 of us before wrinkling her nose. Smells like rancid wine. Smells like rancid wine in here. Indeed, what did you need, Virginia? To my surprise, Virginia turns to me. Instead of the hostile expression she's been wearing the last time we encountered each other, it's much kinder, much to my relief. Mark, I had a discussion with Casius about seeing Amicus. He seems accepting of the idea, under one condition. There's a pause. What? Well, he wishes to speak with you in private. Private? Neferu immediately speaks up next to me. That is not wise, Mark. We should negotiate with him to allow me to be there. Virginia laughs. You really think Casius would allow a Kebian in on a private conversation? Virginia pauses, eyeing the jackal. Neferu currently still hunched up despite his attempts to keep straight. What happened to you? Nothing of note. I raise an eyebrow, which Virginia sees. Mark, what happened? Well, I pause, watching as Neferu raises his own eyebrow, but makes no attempt to stop me. Well, Neferu pissed off Cato, and Cato hurt him. What? I was attempting to pry information from the old man about the staged trial. I was unsuccessful. Why did you even think you could be successful? Cato knows exactly what we're up to. No doubt. This is so unlike you. It jeopardizes everything, Neferu. Virginia seems completely bewildered, and now that I think about it, I have to agree. What was Neferu thinking? But then, Virginia narrows her eyes as she sees the jackal grinning, now openly covering his crotch. What? Well, I may not have achieved exactly what I wanted, but I attained something just as valuable. Neferu glances at the corner of the room where his drone is. You recorded it all? Yes, and an attack on the Pharaoh's son will not look very nice on the Kebian news channel, will it? Neferu. A dark tone enters the wolf's voice. That risks war. The jackal rolls his eyes, adjusting himself rather lewiedly.
I would never actually send it, but Cato does not know that. It's simply convenient blackmail material if things don't go as planned. Virginia squeezes the bridge of her snout, closing her eyes. You don't know Cato very well, do you? And neither do I. Sometimes I believe he wants another war. Did he hit you? Virginia's eyes dart lower. Yes. Anyway, he's no longer the Emperor. It's Casius I'd use it against. You know Cato is in his visor. But still not the Emperor. I would hope your brother has large enough stones. Again, the jackal adjusts himself. To do his job and not listen to a warmongering advisor. One would hope. Virginia continues to look unconvinced. I shift around impatiently next to Neferu. That's a risky play. I mean, that's a good play, but that's real risky, Neferu. I shift around impatiently next to Neferu. So did he want to see me now? Virginia turns to me again, looking as if she forgot that I was there. That seemed to be the case. Neferu sighs loudly. At least try to convince him to allow you to be present, Virginia. I don't want Mark to be left alone with him. There is little to worry about. Cass is not Cato, but I can try. Virginia looks to me. Ready, Mark? I quickly get up, following the wolf to the door. I look back at Neferu, the jackal looking uncharacteristically disheveled as he's still hunched up around his junk. He gives me a more meaningful look, probably meant to tell me to be careful, so I give him a quick nod before following the wolf out the door. We walk in silence, the only sound being the birds and the swishing of our robes as we make our way through the halls. I'm not sure exactly where we're going, but after a while, I realize it must be the throne room. I stare at the back of the she-wolf's head, contemplating a few things. Virginia is the person I know the least about in this palace, which probably means she's doing the best job at playing this little game. Also, I wanted to tell people, I think I found out what the issue was, really quickly. The issue was with me streaming this. When I do my videos now, they're 1080, 30 FPS. When I'm streaming, that setting was the same. I just don't think my connection and my processing power is enough to handle streaming at 1080p. So, unfortunately, stream videos will be at 720 until I get a better computer, which might take a little bit. But, on the plus side, everything should run a lot more smooth. Speak of the devil. Oh man, that sucks. It's okay. Just give it a second, everyone. Let me get it to work back again. Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. I have to laugh at that. Make sure everything's working. Going to be a sequel, which is so weird for a visual novel. No, it's been established amongst the public that he was simply flirting with me. Come on, in a minute now. Okay, I think we got it. I think it's working again. I think we're good. Give it another second, it's waiting. Okay, it's good. So, do you... Oh wait, I already... Yeah, hold on. So do you care that Amicus is in the dungeons? Like, you want to get him out not just because you want to be his advisor, right? Immediately I see the wolf's ears flick back in hopefully mild annoyance and not extreme anger. Her voice is steady when she answers me, though. First of all, it's not any of your business what my motivations are, Mark. She doesn't follow that up immediately, so we're left in an awkward silence as we walk the last 10 feet to the throne room door. She pauses there and finally looks at me, her eyes narrowed. But Amicus is my brother, and for that alone, I love him. And though he's a complete dullard, he's one of the few to be genuinely kind to me in this palace. He is a good wolf. Oh, okay. Yeah, Virginia is very mysterious. Like, we don't really know that much about her. Like, she seems like she's playing a lot of sides, but I do think she genuinely loves her brother. She's just trying to be smart about it. She's more able to, like, emotionally detach herself from things, I think is the best word. Virginia turns away, raising a paw to hover over the black panel. But you would already know that. With that, she presses the panel and the door slide open. I immediately spot Casius at the other end of the carvinous room, looking a bit small and insufficient on the extravagant throne.
Probably not the best impression for the Emperor of Adastra to make. As I'm thinking this, we begin to make our way towards him. A drone hovers in front of the White Wolf, holding up a screen under his face. He's not looking at it now, though, instead narrowing his eyes at the two of us as Virginia escorts me to the base of the steps. Here he is, brother. Casius shifts around his seat, and for a moment, I think I catch sight of some sort of booster seat under his rear. Ooh, it's not.
Thank you, Virginia. You can leave us be now.
Virginia hesitates, collapsing her paws together in front of herself. Brother, I would feel more comfortable if I were allowed to stay. I'd rather not leave you alone with an unprofiled alien. Casius snorts, waving his paw, says dismissively.
I've interacted with it many times before. I will be fine. If not, then the drones will take care of him.
Casius makes eye contact with me as he says that last part, clearly meaning for me to take it as a warning or a threat. Virginia hesitates again, and Cassius's eyes drift towards her in question. That's when the she-wolf bows deeply before turning away. As she passes me, she gives me her own look, not unlike Neferu's. Be careful. I continue to face Cassius as I listen to Virginia's soft footsteps recede behind me. Then I hear the door open and close. I keep my eyes low on Cassius's feet, though I can tell he's looking directly at me. The silence drags on. I wonder if the White Wolf is using CATO'S technique of using silence to intimidate. Finally, though, he clears his throat loudly, almost making me jump.
First, I want to say that you may speak freely here. I only want the truth.
I look up at him then and see that he's not looking at me anymore. Instead, it's to the side, as if he's lost in thought.
I'm confused as to how all of this could have happened, so know that if you speak the truth, you will be free from any consequences.
Man, dark wannabe. Oh! Ow! Are you talking about my voice, Akira? I'm messing with you. Is that what you're referring to? That's kind of funny if that's what you're referring to. Oh man, that can't not unsee that. Consequences? He's making it sound as if I've committed some sort of crime or conspiracy. I mean, maybe I've been a part of some, but it's definitely not my fault. What do you want to know? Cassius's eyes flick to mine then, and I see mild surprise there. He's still probably not used to an alien like me speaking directly to him in full sentences. He pauses again before resting his chin on a paw, clearly trying to look casual.
Who exactly are you?
I raise an eyebrow. Mark, you already know this.
I know your name, but I want to know more beyond that. What is it that you're doing here? How did my brother find you?
Immediately, our conversation reaches a point where I find myself unsure of what to say. How much can I say to him? Obviously, I can't trust him at all. I know that. But I also know that he's in complete control over what happens to Amicus, and there may be a few things I have to give up to keep my wolf safe. Oh! He said my wolf. Oh. He said my wolf. He didn't say keep the wolf. He said my wolf. Oh. Oh my gosh. I hope everything works out in the end. So I square my shoulders and look Casius in the eye. I want to know that Amicus is okay first, and I want to see him. Immediately, Casius' demeanor changed from sour suspicion to sour fury.
Excuse me? You aren't the one to make demands here. I am the Emperor, and you will answer my questions.
I get the vague sensation of my balls drawing up in my stomach as I realize how dangerous all of this is. My thoughts go to that physician, Felix being sent to the dungeons without a second thought. Yeah, but you're not my emperor. I answer to the pharaoh. I'm spitballing, but it seems to be working as it gives Casius pause. I know, right? It's like, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, it really is like the first time that he's actually trying to treat us as a human. That's why I'm like, we're gonna probably have to give up this. We're gonna probably have to give up everything. We don't really have a choice at this point. We're not in a position to really, you know, haggle. Oh, take care, ZC. After a moment, it seemed like he's able to collect himself. So I've heard, but remind yourself that you are on Adastra. Therefore, you are to abide by our laws and customs, and lying to the Emperor is punishable by death. And again, that feeling in my stomach. But I have to remind myself, rules don't matter here. It's all about playing their game. The game of pause. I know that Casius would never have me executed or imprisoned while Neferu was here. That would be far too risky for the Empire as a whole. I can't be intimidated by empty threats, even if they threaten my life. If I want to help Amicus, I have to push the limits. At least, within reason. I also remind myself that I am not completely untouchable, as Neferu's balls can assist too. I just want to see my former master. If you can guarantee me that, then I'll tell you what happened. Another long pause as Casius just glares at me. Then he lets out a little huff. Fine. It's almost funny how he still acted like a child despite now being the Empire of Adastra. So I take a deep breath. I consider lying, of course, but what Amicus did was an honest mistake, at least in my opinion. Lying will probably only make things worse when the truth should be so understandable. So I started at the beginning, how Amicus came upon the records of my people in the archives, how he rushed to my plant to find a willing pet, how everything suddenly went south when he found out far too late that we were not part of the Alexios, and finally how we tried to keep it all a secret to keep the Empire safe. I emphasized the keeping the Empire safe part, even if it wasn't originally at the top of my priorities. I'm telling the truth even if I'm stretching it a bit. Casius listened to all of this with various reactions: contempt, surprise, anger, then contemplation. I'm struck by the contrast between him and Cato. While Cato keeps his emotions in check, aside from the occasional explosions of rage, Casius wears it all on his sleeve. Not that different from Amicus in that way, even if his personality is. When Casius still doesn't say anything, I sigh. It was an honest mistake. You've got to understand that. I already know that it was a mistake. Even Amicus would not make first contact on purpose. I had just wondered what sort of stupidity caused it. He had no reason to think we were uncontacted. We were recorded in the library or wherever. Casius suddenly shifts on his throne. What are you? Species and planet name. His last sentence has the infliction of an expedient demand. Now I'm left to stand in silence. No fucking way am I telling this wolf brat where I'm from. Casius must see someone in my face immediately because his fur once again puffs out in anger. Do you want to see Amicus or not? I need to know this to verify that what you are saying is truthful. Is that really why? I know what your wolves do to other aliens. Why would I give away my people like that? Casius puffs himself up even bigger, and I wonder if he's going to start screaming at me. Then he suddenly just deflates. The problem here is first contact, yes? So why would I go out to find and do whatever you think it is I do to your people? I have no interest in furthering the problem. I simply want to know. But why do you care? Casius snaps his eyes back up to mine. Believe it or not, Mock, I am trying to help Amicus. Do you not know the consequence of such a crime? He could be executed for this. Now my heart does a backflip. What? Why? Because it is a sacred rule created by the parents. Disobeying them risks our entire empire to abandonment. But you're the emperor. If you want to keep him, if you want him kept alive, can't you just do that? I feel myself starting to panic a little. I thought that maybe Amicus would be kept in the dungeons for a while, but never that he could be at risk of being executed. If it were only that I knew of this, maybe. But there are others that know of his crime, and they expect me to terminate all evidence of the first contact. Freaking Akira, man. Casius stares at me, and I realize part of that evidence is, of course, me. Are you talking about Cato? He's just your advisor, right? You can ignore him. No, he can't. Cato was the real leader here. Casius is just a freaking puppet. This time, Casius doesn't respond, looking away again. If I can make the case that this was a truly honest mistake, then maybe I have a chance of convincing these others.
Better yet, convince them that this wasn't first contact at all. Are you even sure your people are completely unaware of the Alexios? I start to say that I'm pretty sure, but he's looking at me in a strange way. Our governments are pretty secretive. They might know something. So it's possible that a crime wasn't committed at all. Simply a misunderstanding, and knowing where you come from can help us determine that. I'm a bit caught off guard by all of this. I guess I just expected Casius to let Amicus rot in the dungeons while he enjoyed his empireship. Emperorship. I said empireship. But I'm reminded of what Virginia had said earlier, that although they might stab each other in the back, they're still siblings. Didn't you once say that you don't care about the parents? Wouldn't it be part of your plan for them to abandon the Empire? Casius sighs deeply. I've said many things, but I've found that once you become Emperor, your perspectives on things change.
See, the thing is, I want to let this out here. I don't like the parents because I feel like, despite supposedly they're benevolent, but they seem like, but like when you think about it, they pretty much force whatever they want to happen to happen. They're like, oh, this is for the better of the universe. Okay, we don't know that. You're, supposedly they're omnipotent. We don't know for a fact that this is really for better for the. We don't really know if this is actually better for the universe or not. Being honest, they could be pushing their own little game. They could be trying to force people to be reliant on them. Which I'm very curious. Don't tell me, because I don't want spoilers. I'm very curious if this game will kind of get into that and be like, wait a minute, these guys aren't as benevolent as we think. They're more just trying to be like, they're almost like gods, where they want to be worshipped by everyone in the universe. Instead of it being like, oh no, we just want what's best for the world. Like, I'm getting like a lot of like ideas going on. Like maybe it's not like, like I'm really starting to think that maybe it's not necessarily they want what's for better for the world, because they're like forcing what they want to happen so far. They brought us back from death. It's like they like, and while we're grateful, it's like you're really trying to force what you want to happen. And while you're claiming it's for the, while you're claiming it's for the better of, the galaxy, universe, whatever, is it really, or is it more that it's better for you all? Because I mean, that's a lot of power. Imagine if it's something like the more people worship them, the stronger they are. Just an interesting little theory. I don't know if anybody's ever seen Clash, was it Clash of the Titans? Yeah, it was Clash of the Titans. That movie kind of got into that little spirit where people had stopped believing in the gods, and actually it was making them weaker. They weren't as strong as they had been before. Gods are demons. I don't know about that, but I'm just saying, I'm just getting a hint that maybe the parents are not as benevolent as we think they are. Maybe they are. It could possibly be that this is just a normal story, but the little political entourage I've seen, I'm starting to feel like that maybe there's a lot more going on. That maybe it's not necessarily they want what's better for the galaxy, but more like they want what's better for them. And what's better for them is if people follow exactly what they want to happen. Like I said, granted, I could be wrong, and they could really just be want what's better for the galaxy, and I could be wrong, but I'm just guessing. I really do hope they explain it very well, because with something like that, a plot device like that, it's very, very easy. Very easy to, what's the word? I keep forgetting words that I want to say. It's very easy with a plot device like the parents to easily, a plot MacGuffin, I guess you call it, easily to have plot MacGuffins in the story. Very easy to. Because the fact that we were brought back from death is already, I don't really like stuff like that unless it's explained, it can work. If it's explained extremely, extremely well, and it's not abused. Bringing a character from the dead can work. I've seen it work, and I've seen it done very poorly. So, I am very curious to see, as I go along with this visual novel, what exactly the parents' end goal is. And if they really are benevolent as they say, or maybe just maybe not quite as benevolent as we like to think. Like, how much do you need the parents? Casius glares at me, so I just go on. How would they find out anyway? Amicus says something about monitors. Obviously, we can just talk about it out in the open without anything happening. I look around as if expecting a monitor to poke its head out from behind one of the pillars. I don't know, but what I do know is that the fewer who know, the better. What even is a monitor? What are you talking about, Mark? What is a monitor? I'm using one right now. Can't you tell? We're using one right now. Duh. Casius shrugs. Again, I don't know. None have appeared in living memory, but that does not mean we should not be cautious. The risk is far too great. I don't really understand this. I feel like if the parents are as powerful and all-knowing as these aliens make them out to be, then they probably already know I'm here. Before I could bring this up to Casius, though. So what are you and where are you from? I think he's right that it wouldn't make sense for the wolves to go after Earth. It is technically the last thing that the Empire would want, especially with Casius' empire, considering his isolationist views. But most importantly, it could help Amicus. I take a deep breath. And if I tell you, you'll let me see Amicus? Yes. I don't like only being able to go on his word, but for some reason I feel like he's being sincere. I'm a human from the planet Earth. Human Earth. Casius mumbles the words, the linguo cutting off and allowing me to hear the wolf's accented voice unfiltered. He pulls the floating drone at his side toward him, tapping at the screen a few times, probably making notes. It feels incredibly wrong at that moment, like I've betrayed all humans somehow. But again, I can't see why it would put Earth in danger. Also, very quickly, I am a little worried about there being a sequel. I'm going to say it right outright. The storytelling I've seen so far is for the most part well. There are a few issues I have. Again, I will explain that when I finally play the last part on stream. I will explain after the stream my thoughts and ideas on it. But I feel like you should never make a story, even if you know that you are going to have multiple stories that correlate to a trilogy or whatever you'd like to call it, you should be able to play the first, or read whatever, the first one, and be content. See, don't get me wrong, there should be little breadcrumbs in there that are not fully explained that you could perhaps explain the sequel, but I'm a little worried because I really hope... I don't know, because I don't know why, but I get the strong feeling when this was made, it was made to be a single story. And the fact that a sequel was announced has me a little worried, because I wish people would do what they feel like. I really hope that they did it because they enjoyed working on it so much, and they really have a story to tell, instead of, you know, give me more money. I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm not saying that's what the Echo team is doing. Please don't misunderstand. If anybody on the Echo team is watching it, please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying, I've seen stuff like that happen where a story is completely wrapped up, and they're like, let's make a sequel to it to make more money, and it turns poorly. Again, there's a lot of stuff in here. I don't know how wrapped up this story is at the end. Maybe it's not wrapped up enough where there is potential for a sequel. Maybe it is wrapped up enough. But I just really am worried, and I really hope that if there is, when the sequel comes out, it is well done. And it doesn't feel like it's more like a money grab, if that makes sense. But that's all I'm going to say. Let's keep going with the story, because we got a lot to do. It feels incredibly wrong at that moment, like I've betrayed all humans somehow. But again, I can't see why it would put Earth in danger. On top of that, I'm also counting on Amicus becoming Emperor eventually, and I know that he'd never do anything to my planet. I'm playing the game. Casius stares at the screen for a while, and I shift around on my feet. So, I can go see him now? He snaps his gaze up to mine. Yes, now is best. Cato should not be back for a few more hours, but I can only give you 20 minutes, just to be safe. Cato, what about him? What do you mean, what about him? I went to ask Casius why I feel like Cato was in charge and not he himself, but I know not to press those buttons right now. Never mind, so, can I see him regularly? No. Mark, he's pushing it, no. There's no way you're gonna be able to see him regularly. Casius sighs loudly again, standing up. If it's not often, and you come to me first, and if Cato's away. Yeah, definitely not in charge. Cato's clearly got some control over Casius. Either way, I'm too happy at the thought of being able to see Amicus semi-regularly to care at the moment. Anyway, come, escort Mark to the dungeons to visit Amicus for 20 minutes. That's when I remember I have other questions. Wait, do you have contact with the parents now? Casius looks at me strangely. Yes, we made contact after I became Emperor. It was expected. Oh, that's good. Indeed, though we had to implant the traditional technique. It's a bit archaic, but highly effective. Oh, so do you have the stretch drive again? Casius looks at me suspiciously. Hey, I need to get home eventually, and you'll be getting rid of the problem if you got me there. Well, no, not yet, but I've only spoken with them a few times. I'll be meditating on that today. I'll keep you updated when we discuss things in the future. You want to talk to me again? Yes. Cassius sulks off while a drone circles around me, telling me to follow it. I think about apologizing to him for the whole Nervo incident, but then I realize if he's not going to mention it, then maybe I shouldn't either. I realized then how strange the whole exchange has been. Cassius had seemed like a whole different person, but I guess now he thinks of me more as an equal, at least in terms of intelligence. It makes him almost tolerable. I'm led to a part of the palace that I've never been to before. We go through a small door into a small room that has a small pit into it. A ladder leads down in this pit, a pit that I can only imagine leads to the dungeons. The hole is dark, and as I pause, I can feel the drone hovering behind me. Please proceed down the ladder, Mark. I get a prickling sensation on the back of my neck, and I wonder for a moment if this is some sort of trap. I mean, of course it feels like a trap. I have a creepy AI nudging me towards a pit of darkness, all set up by Casius. Despite the feeling, I force myself downward, shakily lowering myself to the ladder, several times feeling as if I'm going to slip and fall. I have no idea how deep this thing goes, but as I start to think it might be a sufficient drop, my foot hits solid ground. To my surprise, I get exactly what I had been expecting. It's what looks like, well, a straight-up dungeon. It doesn't look like a dungeon. It looks like a sewer. Well, it looks like a sewer. It looks like more like a sewer. Dim yellow lighting is cast across the stone walls and floor. The air musty and stale. The hall is quiet. The air is cold and fleetingly. I'm glad that Amicus says at least that. And as I'm thinking this, I hear movement up ahead. Shuffling footsteps and shadows being cast on the walls of the hallway in front of me. I take a few steps forward, but calm buzzes behind me. Remain close to the ladder, please. I stop and wait impatiently, wondering if what's up ahead is indeed Amicus. Again, I get that creeping feeling that I've been betrayed somehow, that what's up ahead is some sort of monster Cassius decided to feed me to. Instead, though, what turns the corner is Amicus. Oh my gosh, he's alive! Oh, he's fine. Oh, he's okay. I was like, tell me he's like dead. Tell me like he's actually dead. Oh, for a moment, my wolf stands there at the other end of the hall, staring at me. Then before I know it, he's running at me. I start to move forward, but Calm tells me to stay put once again, more firmly this time. So I force myself to wait, watching as my wolf sprints at me. As he gets closer, I open my arms, and the next thing I know, I'm caught up in a mass of fur, warmth, and tears. Mark! I'm spun around in a circle, my face pressed hard against the wolf's neck before I'm set down again. Amicus doesn't let me go, though, clutching me tightly to his body. He'd sounded happy at first, but now I feel him gasp and shake. Amicus? I pull back as much as he'll let me so I can see his face. Oh my god. Oh no, he's crying. Oh, that's one thing I can definitely say I love about this. Like the relationship between the MC and Amicus is so strong. Like you can really tell that they like have a deep love for each other. It's so strong. I see then that he's crying, not even trying to hide it as he looks down at me with reddened eyes. He looks okay for the most part. His fur is a bit disheveled, and maybe he's a little thinner, but otherwise he looks healthy. The most noticeable change is actually his smell, a hint of musk without any scent of lavender. Well, he's in a dungeon, he probably stinks. Amicus is looking at me just as closely, and one of his paws comes up to brush a thumb pad across my cheek. It's then that I realize that I'm crying too. So I press my face against his chest again, and we stay like that for a while. After about 10 minutes, our breathing is under control, and the wolf's grip on me loosens, though he doesn't let go. Finally, Amicus is the first to speak.
Mark, I am so sorry. What are you still doing here? You're a Chemian. You need to go to Neferu and tell him that you want to be taken home, or at least to Chemia. His voice breaks. You need to get off Adastra. It is not safe for you here. At the very least, have Virginia help smuggle you from the palace. You could... I reach up a hand and press it against his muzzle, both to stop him from telling me to do things I won't be doing, and also because I feel like Com is recording this, even if Casius doesn't mean to monitor us. Amicus pauses, surprised I clamp his muzzle shut. Then I see his eyes well up again as he reaches up to cut my hand and press his face into it, closing his eyes. I'm fine. I'm here to help you. I choose my words carefully. I'm going to help you, and I'm not leaving until I do. Mark, I'm not leaving. Please. This time I bring my other hand up to his mouth. I'm safe. Neferu is keeping me very safe. Nothing can be done to me. I'm a Chemian now. 10 minutes remaining, Mark. Already? Suddenly, I'm pressed up against the bull's chest again as Amicus hugs me tightly. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. I'm such a damn fool. I'm such a damn fool. I never think of others. I ruined your life, and for what? No. I press back again. I know that I can leave with Neferu's help, but I'm choosing not to. Amicus opens his mouth to say more, but I cut it before he can. I want to be here, and I'm going to... I'm about to say take down Cato, but I cut myself off. Help you. Even Casius wants to. I'm gonna get you out of here, no matter what. More tears start to well up, so I just hug him and we stay like that for a while. I wish I thought of things to say. I'm sure there are things I could have brought up that might have helped me or Amicus. But my mind is blank as all I want to do is hold my wolf. Please, just don't involve yourself too much. Keep yourself safe. Being a Chemian doesn't guarantee all that if you meddle. I can hear Amicus trying to choose his own words carefully. Yeah, Cato's already showed me that. Amicus jerks back, looking at me. Did he do something to you? Not me, Neferu. What happened? Neferu was kind of being forward, and he got kicked in the nuts. What? Yeah. But he's the Pharaoh's son. Yeah, so I know that I need to be especially careful. The look of shock on Amicus' face slowly changes to one of slight amusement. Well, that's something I can't imagine. It was definitely something. I'm glad to see Amicus smiling at least a little. 1 minute. I feel a flash of annoyance at the AI before Amicus is hugging me tightly again. I'm going to be careful. I'm just going to help everyone figure out how best to clear your name. I love you so much. I love you too. Time limit has been reached. Please proceed to the ladder, Mark. Please proceed to your cell, Amicus. Amicus' embrace doesn't loosen and instead he lowers his head to kiss me. I kiss back. Please untangle your limbs and oral cavities and proceed to your respective directives. Amicus huffs in annoyance before drawing back. And I'll be back. I just need to ask Casius for the right times. Alright, there's much more I want to say to you, so please return soon if you possibly can. Of course, as soon as I can. Amicus gives me a small smile, and though I see tears in his eyes, they don't overflow this time. Oh, that was hard. Oh, that was hard. That was hard. Oh, I'm about to cry. Oh, that was hard. I felt tears get in my eyes. I was about to start crying. Oh my god. That's like the biggest thing I can give for this game. Like, oh my god, like they really wrote amazingly Amicus, the relationship between Amicus and the MC. Like it's whoo. I think all of us hope one day we can have a love as strong as that. The journey back to Neferu's room is when it all hits me at once. I'd have to constantly wipe my eyes in case someone like Alex, Neferu, or Cato comes around the corner and sees me. I already desperately miss Amicus, and now that I've just left him, I'm reminded of how alone I feel and that he's not always by my side. Next time I visit, I'll bring a bunch of stuff to say, do, and eat. I can't imagine the dungeon food is any good. Maybe we can find more privacy next time, and we'll be able to plan things out. Maybe pass information on to him somehow. The thought of this makes me feel a little better, and my eyes are mostly dry as I near the Jackal's room. It's at that moment that I get a strange whiff of something in the air. Like, mothballs? That's all that comes to mind. It's something that I've never smelled in a palace before, so I find myself pausing in the hallway, looking around. Nothing seems out of place. It's quiet and bright as it usually is, but that's when I realize where I am. There's a door to my left, and I immediately know that's the meditation room.
What do you mean it's only a little? It was very emotional. That's very because like because I'm not gonna lie, like when you hear like Amicus in the dungeons, you're like, is he really in the dungeons or did you kill him? You know what I mean? Like it's really, oh gosh, oh I hope all of us. I would have loved that strong. I really do. One day I'm gonna have a love that strong. One day. I remember then that Casius mentioned that he wanted to meditate to talk to the parents. Is he in there doing that right now? And is that smell part of it? I'm reminded of the night I first met Amicus, that I smelled something like burning rubber in the air. This isn't that, but I have to wonder if maybe the parents emit this odd smell when they arrive. I stand there for a while listening. I don't hear anything, but the smell continues, and I know now that it's definitely coming from that room. My eyes are squarely locked on the black panel. I want to open it, but I know I can't. If Casius really is in the middle of talking to the parents, I could ruin everything. So I start to turn away, deciding that I'll ask Neferu what might be going on in there. But as I do, the door opens and a cloud of billowing white smoke comes out. I gasp and jump back, seeing a figure standing in the doorway. It's Casius, and he's hacking and coughing, gasping for breath. I can see that he's shaking too, and I'm about to back away when he locks eyes on me. His eyes are wide, bloodshot, and I can see what looks like vomit on his chest. Jeez, what is it like? Is this like a high trip or something? His muzzle hangs open as if trying to talk to me. He's hyperventilating though, and that's finally when I step forward. Casius, are you okay? I have to walk into the cloud to get to him, and I'm enveloped in that chemical smell, immediately coughing out the acrid smoke. Help me! Casius reaches out to me, and I catch his paw. Immediately he slumps against me, and I stumble under his significant weight. Nowhere near to that of Amicus, but he is a wolf after all. What happened? I try to peer into the room, but it's so smoky. I see what looks like a little fire in the middle, though. A pot burning something inside. Did Casius hotbox himself with something? Parrots! Demons! I don't know what to do. At first, I start to try and pull Casius along towards Neferu's room, but I immediately switch course, deciding that I definitely won't make it. Amicus's room is closer. I just hope I can still get in there. I can't! Casius whines and then suddenly lets out a retach. I try to ignore it, just kind of hoping that someone else will come around the corner to help me, even if it's Cato. As I'm thinking this, I realize that the hall seems to stretch further and further ahead of me. The light takes on an odd quality, strangely sharp and bright, and just like that, I instantly fall into what feels like a dream. Oh, we got some of that. Gonna save that. Oh, shoot. God damn it, what were you smoking? Parents! Casius squeaks. I'm angry, not just because this dumb wolf got me high on who knows what, but because I'm realizing that this is what Casius was referring to when he said the traditional technique of contacting the parents had worked. All he was doing was getting high on some DMNT shit. Is this how it's always been? Are the wolves, all the aliens, just getting their crazy parent ideas from some drug? The hall continues to extend ahead of me, and suddenly I feel like I'm looping in time, like time doesn't matter at all anymore. I can see why Casius is panicking. I'm starting to myself. After what seems like an eternity, I manage to find Amicus's door. Shakily, I reach out and press the panel, the door sliding open. I practically throw Casius onto the bed. He seems to have stopped blubbering at this point. I collapse onto the sofa, my anger at the wolves and so-called parents dissipating from my mind as the high increases. Sorry. Sorry. Things messing up. There we go. I raise my hands in front of my face and immediately regret it as they start to stretch and bend. Quickly, I jerk them back to my chest, hugging myself, trying to keep my breathing under control. It feels like I'm sinking into a crater, like the ceiling is raising up above me, and that time won't start moving again. I gasp and clutch at the cushions, shutting my eyes, trying to calm myself down. You seem to be worried about something. Want a stress tablet to help you out? That voice sounds kinda like calm, kinda not. They help you chill. What? My confusion over Calm's voice melts away as mercifully darkness takes me. Oh gosh. Wait, we were here before. Oh, we're going back here. I'm relieved to find myself back up in space. I float, content, calm, happy, even though I sense someone watching me, just behind me. Behind me. There is no behind me because I don't have a body anymore. Instead, the feeling creeps just outside of my awareness. Whenever I try to focus on it, it slips away. So instead, I just let it go, floating in space, feeling almost nothing. And feeling nothing right now, after everything, feels good. But after a moment, I start to get vague, far-off feelings. Not my own feelings, but the feelings of others, and I pick them up like distant whispers. Hold on, read the comments. We've interfered far too much already. Nothing goes to plan without the wolves. It must be done. I'm only half listening, coasting on the waves of soothing, empty space. If this is how the drug makes you feel, I'm pretty into it. The more we interfere, the harder it will be to predict anything. There is no other choice. The voice feeling ceased at that point, and I could hear the ripple on the waves of the universe. That's when I noticed something appearing in the center of my infinite space. Oh, it's this guy again. I don't remember what I did for his voice. I've seen this thing before, I think. Dreams that had fled my mind the moment I woken up suddenly come flooding back. I focus on this being, this creature that's been following me since I was abducted. He looms there, staring at me, even though I'm everywhere at once. The silence goes on for a while, or maybe not. I still don't have any sense of time. That is, until the creature speaks. Mark. The voice is deep and masculine, rumbling through my being. Deep and masculine. I wait a moment, then try to acknowledge him, made difficult by the fact that I don't have a mouth to speak with. If you wish to communicate, then do so. I can hear you. What? I try to think the word at him, but it's slow and clumsy in my mind, and I just wish that I could talk. There's a rumble of amusement through the air. If you desire a body, simply will it to be. The loss of self is a disturbing feeling for you creatures, I know. What he's saying doesn't make all that much sense, but I try anyway, and just like that, I feel my being start to pull together. I start to materialize right in front of the creature, and I see my hands in front of myself again. When I look down, I see my body naked. As soon as I see that, I feel a shock of embarrassment, and my robe suddenly appears on my body. I still don't feel right, like I'm still not in this body that I see. Still, it does feel better, and I'm able to open my mouth. What is this? My mouth feels strange and rubbery, and at the same time, it feels like cotton's coating the inside. This is... For the first time, the creature seems unsure of what he should say. Well, it's a bit complicated to explain, but it's simply a space where you and I might be able to communicate peacefully. That's not really an answer. No, but if I were to explain it in depth, it would waste the small amount of time we have together and confuse you even further. I try to stay focused
wanting to know as much about this guy as I can before the drug wears off. You're a parent? That rumbling laughter tickles at the edge of my existence again. No, definitely not. I am a monitor. Monitor? Oh, this is a oh. I get the feeling the voices that we heard in the distance were the parents. This is more... I get the feeling that's one of those things where, like, they're so, like, godly that we couldn't perceive their existence, so this is a better way to perceive their existence, kind of thing. Alright, take care. Thanks for stopping by. I didn't even notice you were in the stream, Bleed. Take care. I see fear trickles down my imagined spine as I realize what this all might mean. The monitor quickly holds up a paw. No, don't worry. You're not in trouble. I watch him cautiously, as if he's only lulling me into a false sense of security before annihilating me on the spot. Again, that feeling of amusement. Now, that would be impossible to do here. I try to keep my thoughts focused. What about Amicus? Is he in trouble? No. He only did what we had planned for him to do. Planned? There's a pause as if the monitor is gathering his thoughts. No, I'm simply receiving instructions. I know, I'm so touched. I didn't even know he was here. He's really good. If you don't follow his stuff, follow him. He has a very great narrative and deep voice. From the parents. I stare at him. They're talking to you? Yes, about you and what I can and cannot tell you. Why don't they just talk to me then? Because they cannot. Direct communication is impossible. Then how? I was specifically designed to be a bridge between your, let's say, dimension and theirs. See, I told you. So it's pretty much, they're such like celestial beings, like we can't perceive them. Like people cannot perceive them naturally. Like they have to use kind of a bridge to talk to. I don't really know what to think about that, but I get the feel that I shouldn't be distracted by these things right now. That would be wise. So what do you mean planned? The parents set Amicus up somehow? Your abduction and introduction to the Woven Empire was meant to happen. Why? Another slight pause. The wolves could single-handedly undo the Alexios, but you can change that. I frowned, feeling some anxiety slip through the drug. And I don't like this. I don't like this. I'm not liking this. So you're telling me that our abduction was the parents' will? I don't like that. I don't like that. I'm not liking that. First of all, sorry. I don't like that. I'm not liking that. So it is pretty much. I'm not liking it in stretch of because I'm fine with it being like predestined bullcrap, but I don't like it. So, oh boy. All right, let me keep going now. I frowned, feeling some anxiety slip through the drug-induced calm. What? How? The wolves are a stubborn sibling, possibly a mistake made at the very beginning. But the parents can still see the correct path and destination. See? Can they see the future or something? In a way, yes. Their minds exist in many times at once. Oh boy. Okay, so they pretty much they could see the future, pretty much. Not 100%, but pretty much. I'm starting to become lost, and suddenly I begin to feel like a primitive life form, incapable of understanding this ancient alien monolith before me. Do not feel that way. You yourself may not understand, but your species as a whole is more than capable. My mind automatically thinks back to how we were abandoned by the wolves, by maybe even the jackals too. You were abandoned by all the siblings. For a single moment, multiple images of several different creatures crossed my mind. A bear, a wolf, a jackal, a lion, a ram. They're all recognizable, and what they wear is recognizable too. reminding me of several different cultures on Earth. The images finally stop on a tiger in a flowing dress with intricate designs and patterns, and what looks like Sarah draped over her shoulder. As the image fades from my mind, somehow I know immediately that it's Mira, there we go. Yes, we reined in the wolves once before with the help of the Hindus, but it lasted for a far shorter period of time than we'd foreseen. That's why we've turned to you to play her ancient role. But we're not a part of the Alexios. Everyone failed at uplifting us, so isn't something wrong with us? Another pause. In a way, yes, but after the attempts, all of the parents realized that humans would factor into the Alexios later. Now. I don't like that. I'm not liking this. So it pretty much the parents were like, oh yeah, like the humans like screw them. It's like screw them, but now it's like now they're like, oh well, they're like now we kind of need them. It's like I'm already my view on the parents is kind of low. Like I'm like aren't the parents competing with each other? This time I only get silence in response. I wonder if he's just been told that he can't tell me that. So what am I supposed to do? What do you want with me? The answer this time is immediate. Restore Amicus to his rightful place on the throne. I wait, but there isn't any other explanation. And how do I do that? Silence. Why me? More silence. I blow out air in frustration, or try to, since nothing comes out. Why can't you all just tell me what to do? You brought me here. Didn't you? Just tell me. Nothing. I'm about to just give up. Wait out the trip when the monitor begins speaking again. Interference often leads to destabilization of the events that should follow. The Alexios must develop and learn in its own way. Then why are you freaking interfering? That makes no sense. Hold on. I'm not trying to badmouth this. Hold on. Interference often leads to destabilization of the events that should follow. The Alexios must develop and learn in its own way. So let me get this straight. The parents believe in letting all of these races and cultures develop in their own way and watch, yet they don't believe that and say, no, they're going to develop it. Wait, that makes no sense. That's bad writing. I'm sorry, that's bad writing. That makes no sense. That doesn't make any sense. I'm very confused right now, and I'm not trying to be that person, but that's bad writing. So you have these celestial beings that watch over the cultures, and for all we've seen of, make sure to lightly nudge people in the direction they want them to be in. Yet now we're being told that they don't want to interfere. You're interfering right now by telling us all of this and telling us what you need us to do. I'm not trying to get mad. I'm trying to be calm, but I'm mad. That makes no sense. That doesn't make any sense to me. All right. Let me calm down. Maybe they'll explain more. But that line literally completely defeats everything that you just told us before. Everything you just told us in this scene right before now. That just seems like bad writing, and I hate being that person, and I hate saying that for Echo Project, because Echo Project has amazing writing from what I've seen. But this is not, no. Okay, let's see if they explain it. Except for now, right? This is interfering, isn't it? Except for in various instances where the children and siblings stray too far. Of course, then that's not avoiding interference. That's still interfering. Now it's like, well, no, we don't interfere. We only interfere at certain points when we feel that people are not doing what we want them to do. I'm like, so you mean, no, let me not say it. You mean certain governments? I don't like this. I'm not liking this. I hate being that person. I'm not liking this. No. This is, either you go one way or the other. Either you say, hey, these parents are straight controlling everything, but they're not completely omnipotent, and these creatures have a free will to an extent.
Sorry, I'm not trying to. Sorry, I'll calm down. That's kind of making me a little heated, though. I'm not liking this because me, and yes, I'm an amateur writer. I'll be honest. I'm an amateur writer. Can see flaws in this already. This time, I'm the one left unsure of what to say. I'd always seen the parents as all-knowing beings with only good intentions for their children, but now, MC knows what's up. How do I know they can even be trusted? What do I do know is that the monitor is apparently able to hear all my thoughts, so he definitely heard that. Still, he doesn't say anything, just regarding me silently. So, I guess you can't tell me what the purpose of all of this is, then? The Galaxias as a whole? That knowledge has not been earned by the sapients yet. We haven't earned that knowledge yet, but you're allowed to control us. Gotcha. My mistrust grows. My mistrust grows too, Mark. Well, can you give me something? Anything that might help me with getting Amicus out of the dungeon? If I'm straying off the course, then tell me how to get back on it. The monitor pauses for a moment, as if getting more information from the parents. Watch the cat. I'm not... Okay. That we kind of had that feeling already. The cat. Alexios? I wait, but again I get silence. I shake my head. If the parents really are all-knowing and all-powerful, then why can't they just tell me? Wait. We are neither of these things. What are you neither of? All-knowing and all-powerful. But you just said something of the sort earlier. If that's the case, I'm sorry, everyone. It's been a long time since I've actually got frustrated playing something, but I'm getting a little frustrated. We are neither of these things. Hence why we must be so careful. I just stand there unsure of what else to do. I look around. Is Casius alright? The false emperor? Yes, he's somewhere around here. The monitor looks about dismissively. Did he hear us? No, he's too busy panicking. A side effect of being a coward imposter. Ouch! I know he is, but ow! I found feeling that's a bit harsh, even with someone like Casius. Can you help him? Maybe bring him here? I get a feeling from the monitor that I can only describe as an annoyed sigh. I suppose. A few moments pass before I start to see something appear next to me. The unmistakable shape of Casius materializes, frightened and shaking. He immediately sees me. Mark, where are we? What's happened? Are you? Then he sees the monitor. Ah! He jumps behind me, shielding himself from the creature. The demon, help me! I get that feeling of amusement from the dragon creature again, and I frown. Have you been scaring him? I get the feeling of a shrug from the creature. If he's scared, that's his choice. And the parents are okay with you doing that? Possibly not, but the white wolf means little to them. What? That seems to get Casius' attention, and he pokes his head around my side to glare at the monitor. I think they messed up. It says Cato, and this is the latest update, so I think it's messed up. Excuse me, but I am the Emperor! No, you are not. Wow, okay, just straight dug right into him. I frown, the scene growing more and more surreal before me. Excuse me? Casius is unable to think of anything else to say. Just as I'm about to step between the two of them, I find myself unable to hold my consciousness together any longer, and I begin to drift off. Slowly, I come to on the sofa, my eyes cracking open as I wince at the throbbing headache I have. There's a cold sensation around my mouth, and I reach up to feel that I've been drooling all over myself. I roll over, feeling a wave of dizziness as I do. I pause there, waiting for the wooziness to pass. When it finally does, I'm able to focus better on my surroundings. I stare a full 10 seconds before I remember where I am and what I'm doing there. I look over at the bed and see Casius lying spread eagle on the covers, his eyes fluttering. I watch him for a while, realizing that he's still unconscious. He did take in a lot more of the drug than I had, so I guess that makes sense. Very slowly, I slide my legs off of the sofa and sit there as a second dizzy spell overtakes me. I wait a solid minute for this one to pass so that when I stand up, I don't end up just falling over. When I'm able to do that, I stumble to the bathroom, feeling more and more clear-headed by the second. When I get to the sink, I rest there, staring at myself in the mirror. My eyes are red and my hair is messed up in every direction. I wet one of the towels and wash my face, and by the time I'm finished, I feel mostly better. As I rest there against the sink, I think back to what just happened. Not just the drug trip I'd been sent on, but what I'd been told. All the dreams I've had since being on this moon, I remember everything. I don't know if it's real or not, if I had really just spoken to the parents. It had seemed too intricate to not be real. My mind wouldn't be able to make up something like that, would it? Then again, I don't know what Casius was smoking. As if on cue, I hear the wolf snort in the bedroom and I make my way out of the bathroom, finding Casius on the side now, facing away from me. Casius? Slowly, I walk around the bed and see that the wolf's eyes, just as red as mine, are open, staring off into space. I try again. Casius, you okay? The wolf mumbles something, not even looking at me. I walk up to the side of the bed, reaching out tentatively before gently touching him on the arm. That seems to jolt him from his daze, and he jerks away, gasping in surprise and fear as he pulls back and looks up at me. I hold my hands up to show him that I mean no harm, and he stares at me for what feels like over a minute. Finally, he mumbles out my name. Mark? I nod slowly, not wanting to make any sudden movements. Yes, I'm Mark. You're in the palace, in Amicus's old room. I know I am, idiot. Seems like he's returned to his old self. Well, that's good. You had a pretty bad reaction to whatever that was. Casius is pushing himself up to a sitting position, doing it slowly just like I had. He lets his head hang for a while, probably going through the same dizzy spells I just experienced. I wait patiently and decide to move back over to the sofa while I do. His ears perk up as I sit down and he looks back up at me. What are you doing? I frown. What do you mean? I mean, why are you still here? You may leave. I guess I could. I just want to make sure you're okay first. Casius lets out a soft, intelligent snort. You think I believe that? You're dismissed. I give him an incredulous look. Seriously? First of all, this is Amicus's room. Second, I'm a Chemian. I don't see you order Neferu around like that. This time, Casius lets out a louder snort. Ha! He's royalty and an actual Chemian. You think that I'd pay you the same? Chemians see all their citizens as equal. I'm worth just as much as he is in their eyes. Instead of snapping back, Casius just lowers his head, eyes closed before he lets out a deep, forlorn sigh. I'm tired. If you wish to antagonize me, please leave it for another time. I've been pushing the boundaries of Casius on purpose to see what his limits are, and I'm getting more comfortable conversing with him without fear. Still, I'm a bit taken aback at Casius' sudden tone of defeat. It's one that I haven't heard often. We're both silent for a minute or so, then I finally speak up. So what was that? That smoke stuff. It was a drug, right? Casius is silent for a bit longer, and I wonder if he's going to ask me to leave again. But instead, he just sighs and finally looks up, his eyes looking a bit more clear now. It's called Somni, a plant from the southern region of this continent. It helps us connect to the parents. Yeah, you said it's the traditional way? The old way, yes. Usually we communicate through parental tech, but as you know, they are not currently speaking to us with that method. So this forces it to happen. In a way. Does it work? Casius glares at me. You would know you were there. I go silent, that statement coming as a surprise to me. I'd seen Casius, of course, but I thought it'd only been part of the hallucination. You saw me? Oh, please, Semyon, or whatever the hell you are. You're only trying to humiliate me further. I was right next to you. So that had been real. I sit back on my hands contemplating all of this. I've read about DMT experience back on Earth, how if you break through, you can meet extra-dimensional beings that tell you the secrets of the universe. I would have considered my experience to be all in my head, but if Casius was actually there. I noticed then that Casius was looking very closely at me, gauging my expression. What? He spoke to you, didn't he? What did he say? I try to think of what to say. If this is real, then I doubt telling Casius everything will help me out in any way. He must see the hesitation on my face because his fur bristles.
The Emperor demands you tell him what they told you! I glance up at Casius, feeling less and less afraid of him with every threat he sends my way. He really is all bark and no bite. He just sort of asked me what I was doing there. That's it. Casius glares at me before finally seeming defeated once again, looking down. But he seemed okay with me being here. He was a monitor too. I don't think Amicus is in trouble. Casius shakes his head. I don't trust anything he said. He was a demon. I sigh. What did they say to you? You look pretty scared. I was not scared. I let an involuntary laugh before I could stop it. Damn you, I was simply unprepared for the experience. It was much more intense than the previous one I had, that's all. Cassie looks at the ground again, and I can see the inside of his ears are burning red. I know that laughing at him was a shitty move on my part. I should be working to get him on my side to help Amicus. I make an effort to get my expression under control. Listen, I'm not against you, Casius. Actually, I think we're working together here. I'm just trying to figure out how best to help your brother. Casius continues to stare silently at the floor, though I see an ear twitch as if acknowledging what I just said. If we're gonna work together, we need to be at least a little bit honest with each other. Maybe I can help you figure some stuff out. I realize how hypocritical that is, especially considering that I'm hiding what the parents had just told me. Casius lets out a skeptical huff. You help me? Yes. Casius seems to contemplate, then shakes his head. Well, nothing there can help us. They simply torment me when I try to communicate with them. Torment? They appear as demons and taunt me. It seems that the parents truly do want to cut off contact with us, which I'm fine with. Casius says that last bit with such meek defiance and I almost feel sorry for him. Maybe it was just a drug. I've heard plenty of stories of people freaking out on mind-altering stuff, especially if they have problems with anxiety. I do not have a weak mind, Mark. That doesn't mean you have a weak mind. Sometimes you just... Enough! I will not have you speculating about my mental capacities. This time I'm the one sighing, wondering for the 100th time how the hell this wolf is Amicus' brother. So they didn't say anything to you. Casius pauses, a frown tugging at the corners of his mouth. No. They told him. They told him probably that he's not meant to be emperor, and he probably took it really harshly. That's why he's not going to tell us that. I raise an eyebrow at him. What? Of course they said things to me, but nothing useful. You sure? Of course I'm sure. The parents have turned on us. That's all that I need to know. I think back to the conversation we had in the hallucination. The monitor had told both us that Casius isn't the emperor, and if Casius had heard what I heard, then that's probably what he's thinking about right now. But I know now isn't the time to challenge him, and I could tell that he's still trying to recover from the trip. Still, looking at him right now, staring at the ground, looking deceived and defeated, I feel myself wanting to help him. Out of everyone on this moon, he seems to be the most stressed out, and I feel bad for him despite everything that's happened. But I know he doesn't want my pity right now. So, I eventually leave Casius alone in the bed and wander back out into the halls, feeling as if weeks had passed since I had last been out here. I think back to what that dragon-like creature had told me, about how I'm here for a reason, that this all had been planned out. Planned out by parents who seem to be completely frustrated at the behavior of the wolves and their inability to follow through on their plans. For a brief moment, I wonder how much more smoothly things would have gone if I had been abducted by someone like Neferu and taken to somewhere like Chemia. But then I wouldn't have met Amicus. Besides, it seems like it's just the wolves that are giving the parents problems, not the other siblings. I'm gonna say it, I feel slightly bad for Casius. He's still a terrible person, but I feel slightly bad for him because I feel like he's the kind of person that's really trying to be a good leader. And I'm sure that being somebody trying to be a good leader, if they're just told by somebody like, "Listen, you're not meant to be emperor. You're a false emperor." It's just like it kind of probably demotivates him. Probably right now he's probably really just in such shock, he's because and being honest, yeah, he did. He got the empire ship. He didn't win it fairly. He got it because he was seen as the easiest one to manipulate. Which reminds me of the only bit of advice that the parents had given me. Watch the cat. Spy on Alexios? That's something that I think I can do, if I'm careful. Despite the new level of scrutiny I've fallen under, I've also been walking around the halls of the palace for the past few days without incident. I've even come across Cato a few times, but for whatever reason, he's completely ignored me. All for the better.
So I start to scour the palace for the cat. He's actually pretty hard to find when he's not looking for you, but I at least know that he's usually in the gardens, if not in the hallways watering the plants. So after eating a quick lunch, I decide to start my search in the gardens. I look back and forth through the foliage as I walk quietly along the various pathways. It's quiet, pleasant, and peaceful, but after everything that's happened, it has an ominous edge to it, like something could jump out at me at any moment. I do this for about half an hour before I start to realize how fruitless this search might be. Alex would be hard to find even if he was out here, and besides, he could even be all that way out in the city doing his ambassador work, whatever that is. Just as I'm about to give up, though, I hear something. Sniffling, gasping, and crying. I pause, listening. It's a bit difficult to hear through the slight rustling of leaves in the wind, but there's definitely someone out there that sounds upset. I can't really tell who it might be since it sounds like they're trying to keep quiet. That, and there's another sound too. Another voice, and this one I recognize. Alex. It's a soft murmuring sound like he's soothing someone, probably the person who's crying. I wait there a few moments, waiting to see if the sound fades or gets closer, which would tell me if they're moving, but it stays constant. So convinced that they're sitting down, or at least standing in the same spot, I creep closer to where the sound is coming from. It's in a secluded part of the garden, coming from a small square that's surrounded by trees and bushes. I'm familiar with the square, the one with the statue of Drusius, where I'd been laid out to die. I know that I can't use the little path that leads to the statue. I'd be seen for sure. So I walk up to the bushes that surround it and start looking for a break in the various branches and leaves. And just to let everybody know, we're going to be ending soon. I'm trying to get to a good point to stop at. We will be ending soon. The only reason I would keep going, but like I said, I'm scared with the way YouTube's been going now. I'm scared that this is going to get ruined, and I can't handle if over 2 hours of footage gets just going like that. So that's why I'm playing it safe again. I do want to start doing more longer streams, but right now, playing it safe. The sobbing sound continues, and I can hear Alex's voice more clearly now. I still can't quite tell exactly what he's saying, but I catch the occasional, "Don't worry, and all is well." I can't imagine what's happening in there. I start to wonder if this is exactly what the parents had hoped I would come across, and my heart starts to hammer in my chest. Am I about to find something that's going to help me out of the mess we're in? I finally find a thinner coverage in the foliage, and I'm about to see through. First, I see Alex, his back to me, crouched on the ground in front of the statue. He's draped over someone, hugging them, his face pressed to the side of their head. I can only see their ears and parts of their shoulder, but I know right away that it's Casius. He's got his head bowed deeply toward the ground, his paws to his face shaking with his sobs. Alex hugs him tightly, whispering in his ear, clearly trying to comfort him. Casius only responds with an occasional shake of his head before finally blurting out, "But am I a fraud?" His voice squeaks uncharacteristic on the last word, and Alex responds with a gentle shh before nuzzling the wolf's muzzle. I watch for a few more moments before drawing back, feeling uncomfortable, knowing that this is a private moment between the two of them. I know now that this won't exactly help me in any way aside from making me feel even worse for Casius. Still, I failed Alex, so I move away toward a bench that's further up the path, one that gives me a good view of the entrance to the square, and at a distance that won't make me seem suspicious. See, he did. He was probably told a lot of stuff by the parents, the monitor, that he don't want to say, because he's crying. Oh man, I feel a little bad for him. Like, I still don't like him, but I do feel sorry for him. A good 10 minutes pass before there's any movement. First, Casius comes out. In the process of straightening out his armor, his expression blank as he stalks off the path away from him. I wait a good while, maybe another 5 minutes, wondering if Alex somehow took a different exit from the square. But at that moment, I see him walk out, looking completely neutral as he looks around. I freeze up, positive that he's about to see me, even though that would be okay. But he instead walks straight ahead toward the pond. I watch him go for a while, then follow. It feels strange trying to spy on the pet ambassador like this, especially when I have no idea what I'm doing. But this is the only hint I was given to free Amicus, and if this is the only way, then I'm going to do it. I find the cat at the pillars already pulling out away at the weeds. I sigh and wait, watching for a while, realizing that this could last hours since Alex always seemed to enjoy weeding for some reason. The cat is so meticulous about gardening here, and I have to wonder why, considering his efforts really wouldn't be all that visible in a garden this big. But I remind myself of why I'm here and settle down on another bench, one that's also a good distance away so that I won't seem too suspicious if he sees me. This time, I sit there for a few hours,
occasionally adjusting the way I'm seated as my ass gets sore on the stone bench, and as the sun sets, I realize how boring spying actually is. Around the second hour, the sun is completely set, and I debate just giving up and trying another day. At that moment, a drone suddenly drifts up to me, making me jump and duck my head down a little bit, as if that will help hide me from Alex. Neferu requests... Shh! I hiss at the drone, and Com's voice automatically dips into a whisper and goes on as if nothing had happened. Your location, and if you need his assistance. Of course, at that exact moment, I see Alex strolling up the path, though he doesn't move towards the palace. Instead, he starts walking up the path in my direction, and I quickly stumble off the bench and into the bushes, praying that he didn't see me as I hide myself amongst the leaves. The drone follows me, then pauses at the edge of the sidewalk. I'm reminded that these things probably can't move off the grid or off the pathways. Just through the leaves, I see the damn thing's lights on, stubbornly waiting for my answer. At the same time, I hear the soft scraping of Alex's sandals on the pathway as he moves closer. Damn it.
After Class, yes, I have heard of After Class. I haven't had I've played a little bit of it off video or stream. Actually, before I got sick, before I got and sick, I actually had played on streaming it, and then I got sick. So, it is a game it is a visual novel I do plan on playing though. It's on my list. Let me finish some of the other stuff I'm doing right now, and then I'll catch it up to it, and then definitely be something I will be playing though. I've heard some interesting things about it.
Would have been better if I just stayed on the bench. Now this drone is going to reveal me to Alex while I'm hiding in the bushes, like the most suspicious person in the palace.
I see the green tips of the cat's ears poke above the bushes as he hums softly. I crouch lower in the foliage until I can't even see that. I will the cat to just ignore the drone, but the humming stops and so do his footsteps, and I know that he spotted it.
Do you have a stray drone out here, Com?
Oh, well, that's Casius.
Do you have a stray drone out here, Com?
All drone machinery are accounted for, Alexios. Oh gosh. Oh no! I've been doing Cassie's voice for so long, I forgot. Hold on, I gotta think.
What's this one?
Oh my gosh, no! I'm trying to remember the voice. How do I forget that fast?
What's this one? What's this one doing?
I sort of got it. I feel my heart stop swallowing hard. Sorry. Okay. Stream thing messed it up again. There's a pause as if Com is calculating something. That information is classified, Alex.
By whom?
Neferu. There's a pause and a chuckle as Alex's footsteps pick up again, moving further away to my left.
Oh, that jackal.
I'm still holding my breath as I listen to the footsteps fade up the path before slowly rising up from my crouch, glaring at the drone. Tell Neferu that I'm busy, but that I'll be back tonight. I have some things to tell him. Message received. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, no problem. I say it sarcastically as the drone floats off in his slow, lazy way. Oh, 6 days? Okay. I'll check it out. At this point, the sun has set completely, and I have to wonder why Alexios has headed in that particular direction, leading either towards the gate of the palace or the lake. I follow the path slowly, keeping my eyes peeled for the cat. At first, I'm almost positive that he would be heading for the gate, maybe on his way to the city. This would be the end of my little mission, since I know I can't leave the boundaries of the palace without being hurt somehow, probably killed. But instead, I spot the cat's form just barely visible in front of the lake, its surface glinting from the light of the moon. I stop and hide behind a tree, making sure that I'm not close to any of the lampposts. I watch as Alex moves around under the little gazebo with the watercrafts under it. Sure enough, a few minutes later, he comes gliding out on the sightseer. He floats over the shore, then out onto the lake, in the direction of the island. I know right away that I'm seeing something important. There's nothing on the island for the cat to take care of, as far as I know, and unless he's going out there for a nighttime outing on the beach, extremely doubtful, then he's definitely doing something suspicious. I wait for a while, watching as the dark form of the cat in the craft gets smaller and smaller, until they basically disappear out in the direction of the island. Of course, I know I can't follow him out there right now, but I can definitely tell Neferu about it. Neferu is in his room when I arrived. Oh, I like this lighting. Neferu is in his room when I arrive, tapping away at what looks like a transparent tablet. It's an odd thing to see considering the non-existent portable technology in this palace. Maybe it's a Chemian thing? As soon as he sees me, though, the display slides back into the small metal bar that had been projected out of as he turns to face me. Hello, Mark. You were gone for quite a while. Yeah. Care to share how your visit went with Casius and hopefully Amicus? Takes me a moment to remember exactly what he's talking about. After my little trip, everything that happened before it seems so distant. I try to tell Neferu as much as I remember involving Casius before the parent thing, and he seems impressed. I suppose bringing Casius to our side won't be as difficult as I had previously thought. It seems he has similar misgivings about Cato. Yeah, and Amicus is doing okay, just a bit depressed about everything that's happening, obviously. I paused it, which Neferu notices. Is there something else that happened? I take a deep breath, thinking how best to describe what I went through. Well, when I was coming back, there was this weird smell coming from the meditation room. Neferu raises an eyebrow, and I go on to explain how I ran into Casius again, then everything that happened afterwards. When I finish, the jackal is quiet, just watching me with a narrowed gaze. This is usually the look he gives me when he's thinking hard about something, so I give him some time to respond. When he does, it's hesitant and reserved, not usually something I hear from Neferu. So it was a drug-induced hallucination, yes? Well, I guess so, but I think it was real too. Like, Casius was there and he remembers seeing me with him. What's wrong? Well, that is a very primitive way to contact the parents. To put it bluntly, it does not work. It was a method used in the early days during first contact between sibling and a parent. They visited multiple times, and in between visits, some siblings, especially the wolves, would try to contact them again via psychotropic drug use. This could occasionally bring visions of higher beings, though they were not the parents, of course. Simply imagined beings conjured up by a chemically imbalanced brain. This is likely what you experienced. To truly contact the parents, you must do it through parental tech, complicated machinery that is able to transcend dimensions. It is usually only usable by a single person, such as the Emperor for the wolves or the Pharaoh for my people. Neferu stops talking at this point, allowing me to take all that information in. So, maybe I had imagined it all? Even if it had seemed so real. No, you didn't. No, I don't think we imagined it. I think it was real. They told me they had a plan for me and everything. Oftentimes, such drugs stroke the ego of the user. They make you feel as if you are at the center of the universe, as if you were important. Not saying that you aren't. Have you tried it before? I've had brushes with such substances in my youth. Good for experiencing the fragility of reality and how we perceive it, but little else. I see. Still, it sounds like you caught Casius in a moment of vulnerability. He could trust you more because of it, if you treated the situation delicately. Maybe. I think back to when I saw him crying in front of the statue, but I don't want to tell Neferu about that. Not really feeling it would be all that useful or appropriate to share. But this reminds me of what else the parents had said to me. Well, they also told me something else, to watch Alex. Did they now? Yeah, and I did. He's been acting weird ever since I got here, so I spotted him today and he sailed off to the island in the middle of the lake just now. Neferu's got a strange, knowing smile on his face. What? I just find it interesting that you have similar suspicions of Alex that I did. What do you mean? I've been studying the cat myself and noticed a few odd things as well, including his trips to the island. I frown. What, and you didn't tell me? Well, this rather desperate situation we're in only came about very recently, and I've had little use for this information, until now. Well, what do you think he's doing? Neferu shrugs. I don't know, as I've not yet followed him to the island. You can imagine that I'm planning to now that we could use Alex on our side as well. Turn everyone against Cato? Yes. So if he's doing something bad, then we would use it as blackmail? Essentially, he's the closest person to Casius and could possibly grant us access to classified information. I sigh, growing weary of all this backstabbing. If it's the only way to help Amicus, I guess. Oh, there are many ways, and I have a last resort plan in place. And wait, but Neferu doesn't go on. Which is?
Well, considering Amicus's birthright, he still has the ability to challenge whoever's on the throne, but...
Really? All this time Amicus could have just challenged Casius again? Then I realized that Neferu was about to go on. But what?
A fight to the death, since the wolves love their violence, though the Emperor would have to accept the challenge.
The thought of that instantly makes me feel sick.
No way. Again, last resort. I doubt Amicus would challenge his own brother, and I doubt Casius would accept, at least at the moment.
I can't even begin to contemplate a situation like that, and Neferu quickly changed the subject. See, like, I hate Casius, but I don't want him to die. I don't think he deserves to die. I feel like he could change.
Anyway, I should be off. I'd like to catch Alex in the act, and based on previous observations I've made, I have another hour to do so.
I blink in surprise. Right now? Shouldn't we wait until, like, tomorrow night?
He only goes once a week. Considering how urgent our situation is, I should get this done now.
Can I go too?
Mark, remember what I said about needing to keep you safe?
Yeah, and it's Alex. What's he gonna do?
We should be prepared for anything.
Well, I think it's better if we both go, in case something does happen and you need my help. Neferu lets out a soft sigh.
All right.
I'm surprised by how quickly he gives in.
I suppose you deserve to be treated as an equal in these plans we're making. Though, if Amicus finds out I'm bringing you on these missions, he'll have my hide.
I'll let him know I wanted to be a part of it.
As if that will convince him. Anyway, let's be off.
Okay. My excitement picks up as I get to my feet and follow Neferu to the door.
If we run into anyone, especially Cato, we simply tell them we're out for an evening stroll. Understood?
Yep. Despite the potentially dangerous situation we're going in, my mood is lifted knowing that things are finally moving again. Guess what, guys? We're gonna stop here! Yes, I did it! We're gonna stop. We are gonna stop here. Leave you for some excitement for the next stream. We are going to end right here. Leave you excitement for the next time. I think that's a good amount of content. About 2.5 hours, guys. We're good. I'm sorry, because I know people are probably fuming right now. We're gonna stop though. I'm gonna stop right now. A lot's going on. I'm gonna stop. Take a break. Well, break as in a few days I'll stream again. So, I'm sorry about earlier. I did get a little frustrated, and what I said though still stands. Maybe later in the story they'll explain that better. But right now, they pretty much just blew up what they've been saying for a long time, including. I don't like I hate the fact that your character is so shoved into the story like this. I mean, I will keep playing, but I don't like the fact that now it's like, oh, everything was the parents doing. Even if they would have did something like, oh yeah, like this was Amicus's whole doing, and the parents saw an opportunity, I'd be fine with that. But the fact they're like, oh yeah, even Amicus kidnapping you, that was us. We did that. We wanted to do that. It's like, wow, so your character really has no say in anything. I guess I can sort of understand now why there's really not many choices, but it's still like, really? Like, And then the fact that the parents, it says that, and they're like, oh yeah, they don't interfere. And then, like in the next one, like, oh yeah, they interfere all the, they interfere all the time. And then in one next paragraph, he's like, oh yeah, the parents choose not to interfere. They let people do their own thing. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. You just contradicted what you've been saying for most of the story. That doesn't work. So, again, I'm calm down now. I'm going to keep playing. But that's really, I'm sorry. That's bad storytelling. I'm going to say it. That's bad storytelling. That's not good storytelling. But I am still enjoying this visual novel. I'm very curious to see what Alex has been doing, because now Alex is acting very weird, and I want to know what he's doing. And I'm curious exactly, now that we know about the parents, what exactly are we going to do? Is Casius going to actually help us try to free Amicus? So, thank you to everyone. But anyway, thank you to my Fallen Pack and all the other new people that have come to the stream. Thank you so much for watching me. I always appreciate everything you do for me, and I appreciate the fact that you decide to come over and see me. We're here, we're strong, and I ain't going, we're all here, we're all strong, and we aren't going anywhere. I hope that this was a good episode for you. I really enjoyed it, beside my little nitpick with the storytelling. I enjoyed it. I'm excited to keep going with this. It's hard for me to stop, but I gotta stop. I want to leave us something to drool over. But as I said, this has been Fallenwolf. Oh! And I hope everybody has a beautiful, beautiful day. And I'll see everyone in the next stream of Adastra. Bye.